Akeem Olufemi Gbajabiamila. God bless you all. So the question now is that the CBN governor appear before this House on Thursday, 11 a.m.
House worries over CBN withdrawal limit policy, invites the governor for further clarification.
When a parent abandons a child at the time or place of his birth, he shall be guilty of an offense.
And Bill for an Act to amend the Child Rights Act, Skills second reading. A warm welcome to House Tickets, your weekly companion that brings you reports on events and activities of your lawmakers elected into the House of Representatives, Federal Republic of Nigeria. My name is Dehelia Mamza and I'm your guide. On this episode, we have matters of urgent public importance, motions, bills, among other happenings that lawmakers deliberated upon during plenary in the last 1 week. We also have a report on a courtesy visit to the Chairman House Committee on Electoral Matters by a delegation from the International Republican Institute and National Democratic Institute. Find out the reasons behind the visit when House Ticket resumes fully after the break. Please stay with us.
The entire purpose of the legislative agenda is to direct our legislative resources and efforts in a coordinated effort to ensure the well-being of the individual in a life of safety and freedom. That is a high ambition, but it's well worth the effort. We have passed landmark legislation to fix our oil and gas industry, reform the police, and reorganize the corporate administration system in our country. We have considered and passed meaningful legislation that impacts all areas of our national life.
Thanks for staying tuned. Let us begin the first segment with reports from plenary proceedings in the week under review, starting with matters of urgent public importance, motions from the other paper, alongside bills at first, second, and third reading. The report is compiled, is presented from our studio.
On Tuesday, the 6th December 2022, plenary was presided over by the Deputy Speaker of the House, Right Honorable Ahmad Idris Wase, and there was a letter from the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari.
I forward here with the Federal Capital Territory 2023 statutory budget proposal for the current consideration of the House of Representatives, while hoping that the submission will receive the usual expeditious consideration of the House. Please accept, Right Honorable Speaker, the assurance of my highest consideration. Yours sincerely, Muhammad Buhari, signed.
Similarly, the House received another letter from the President, which forwarded the Federal Government of Nigeria Power Company budget of 2022. The communication was referred to the relevant committees of the House.
I rise to motion under urgent public importance.
Representative Magaji Da'u Aliyu moved a motion under matters of urgent public importance on the urgent need for the Central Bank of Nigeria CBN to rescind its decision on the cash withdrawal limit policy.
Only a month ago, we woke up to hear that there is going to be currency notes. Change of the currency note. And they can do it. As far as I'm concerned, there is no single bank in my federal constituency. I don't know where my people will go and change this money. I don't know how they will get it. The best we have in my village is the POS. And still our people deal in physical cash. It's good to have cashless policy, but we seem to be borrowing ideas or policies from other countries where they have already gone far ahead of us. We are comparing ourselves with the British, with the England, the Americans. They are far ahead of us. We will reach there one day. But these are kind of policies that disturb people who voted for us. The issue of this that I read the motion on, it bothers whoever is sitting in this place, because most of them are from rural areas. Everything is being done in naira and cash, and somebody will wake up it's like he owns this country and make a policy that will start tomorrow. No consultation. People are forgetting that 80 or 90% of the people are not in rural areas. So we must do something to save the situation. If there is enough time, there are enough banks, there is enough facilities, why not?
Lawmakers gave their contributions on the motion.
I can't simply understand how we'll just wake up one day and introduce this very draconian approach to businesses, giving Nigerians a maximum of 1 month's notice to adjust their belt. Like Dao argued, sir, more than 70% of our communities in this country do not have banking system. Mr. Speaker, sir, this will completely eradicate all the successes we have gathered as a country in trying to address restiveness, thieves, banditry, and whatever. Because the little progress we have recorded through intervention and introducing small-scale businesses will be completely wiped out.
Part of the problem that is enforcing kidnapping and all vices that are very inimical today, that you go to community, they will ask them to contribute money, is because there is cash everywhere. If you want to stop banditry, make it impossible for them to have cash.
So you're speaking against the motion?
There shouldn't be cash available for them. That's one. Two, we passed the law on this floor. It's our law. The fact that CBN all this while had been sleeping and never went into their law, the law passed, and ensured that they follow it to the letter, didn't mean that it wasn't there. The law is there. They are only now waking up and now implementing what we sent out to them. So if we want to address it, amend the existing law. It will not come by resolution. That is the truth. No matter how bad we feel, no matter how we feel that our people will be engendered by this, I think that the right thing is to the existing law and amend it. But on the issue of cashless, between you and I, is the best thing that can happen to this nation. Even though the timing may be difficult, they may ask for an extension of time for it to be well implemented, but it will help us.
I still believe that we should look at the implementation of those policies with a view to enabling the central bank to do the right thing. The way the CBN is going in this country, in fact, the CBN governor is behaving as if he's more powerful than the president, than the National Assembly. Policy after policy are being rolled out. People are not settled on one. You are bringing another. You set timelines that are completely unreasonable, timelines that are totally unreasonable. Then you say an entire honorable member, all I can take in 1 week is 100,000. I have over 500 people I feed. I have students in the university that I have on my scholarship. I have people who are sick. We don't have hospitals in my constituency that are working. And every day you get requests about surgery, appendix, etc. It's not 20,000 that will do it.
I support this policy in the sense that it's going to reduce corruption drastically. And again, facing insecurity in my own constituency, Mr. Speaker, is going to give bandits a tough time in requesting for cash. But economically, it's an issue that we should be able to look and invite the CBN governor to be able to explain. Economically, but in terms of corruption and insecurity, Mr. Speaker, I support this 100%. But in terms of the economic drive of this country, the CBN governor should be invited to explain to us which is the way out.
Support of the rescission, please say aye.
The motion was voted on and adopted, after which the House moved that the CBN governor be invited to the House to provide them with relevant information on the subject matter.
So the question now is that the CBN governor appear before this House on Thursday, 11 a.m. Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it.
Destruction of properties by bandits and bad Fulanis.
Still on matters of urgent public importance, Representative Victor Mela Danzaria moved a motion on the urgent need to address the incessant killings of citizens and destruction of properties in communities of Gombe State.
3 months ago, Mr. Speaker, I spoke on the House concerning rustlers that came into my local government and in my town with 500 cows. They were arrested the last time and cows were returned to the owners. And I made mention that some of the cows were all away from Wasi at that time. Honorable colleagues, about 10 days ago, honorable colleagues, this is serious. I want you to recall, 10 days ago, these same people, whom we call bandits, bad Fulanis, and kidnappers, they came into the same area in Billiri local government, which is called Amtawala Mampacha. They came in and got away with over 30 cows. They killed 2 young men. The young men were out there defending their property. These are peasant farmers. There are not even government workers there. Mr. Speaker, 2 men were killed and over 30 cows were stolen from that village. I went there myself, Mr. Speaker, condoled with them, and came back and thought everything is done. Until yesterday, Mr. Speaker, I received a call 1 a.m. These same people came to the same town. They came to the same town spreading or shooting bullets or guns sporadically in that village called Fobaure and Namtoalam. They killed over 60 years old man that couldn't run away from his round hut. They put fire on that house. That man was burned. As if it is ended there, they went to the next town in Amtoalam. They did the same thing to an old man. Mr. Speaker, I have a picture of a young man here. They cut his neck. Mr. Speaker, I have a picture here of a young man. They burned him alive. His ashes. Mr. Speaker, unfortunately, the police could not get there. This is happening in Gombe. This is happening in my local government. This is happening in my village, Mr. Speaker.
His prayers were to urge the Inspector General of Police to increase the deployment of security operatives in the affected area. Also urged the National Emergency Management Agency NEMA to provide relief items to the affected community, and that the House should observe a minute's silence in respect of those who have lost their lives in the attack. The motion was voted on and adopted.
Ayes have it.
Arise to move a motion.
Moving on to motions from the order paper was a motion on the need to continue the East-West Red Line project. It was moved by Representative Dozie Ferdinand Nwanko.
The House is worried that the non-completion of the rail project, which aggravated the problem of travelers who suffer delay due to the deplorable state of the road, coupled with checkpoints along Calabar-Lagos Road. Considering that the inability to complete the project within the projected 6 years period will continue to put pressure on the 2 seaports located in Port Harcourt and Lagos and the existing roads.
The House in its resolutions resolved to urge the federal government to reverse its earlier decision on the project by continuing its implementation, considering the economic importance of the rail project to the nation. Also urged the federal government to review its 25-year rail strategic plan, part of which is to unbundle and commercialize the Nigerian Railway Corporation. Mandate the Committee on Land Transportation to liaise with the Federal Ministry of Transportation and other relevant government agencies to ensure that the East-West Coastal Rail project is captured in the 2023 budget estimates. The motion was voted on and adopted.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to move a motion.
Representative Saidu Abdullahi also moved a motion on the need to fast-track the geophysical survey and seismic data acquisition to ascertain the availability of hydrocarbon in commercial quantity in the Bida Basin.
The Group Managing Director of NNPC, responsible for the frontier exploration services in 2020 noted that in-depth geological and geochemical studies revealed a strong presence of hydrocarbon-bearing indicators confirmed as oil and gas-bearing formation. Cognizant that the seismic data acquisition contract on the identified areas to determine the volume of the hydrocarbon in the Bida Basin was awarded to Integrated Data Services Limited and the China National Petroleum Corporation International Nigeria Limited by the NMCC management, acknowledges that the discovery of oil in another region of Nigeria is good news for the country's energy sector, and that if the volume of oil in the Bida Basin is established and the exploration activities commence fully, Nigeria may in the near future overtake Libya, the country with the largest oil reserve in Africa.
The House considered and approved his motion, thus resolving to urge the Federal Ministry of Petroleum Resources, Nigerian Upstream Regulatory Commission (NUPRC), and the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited to conclude the geophysical survey that the defunct Department of Petroleum Resources (DPR) started in order to ascertain the availability of hydrocarbon in commercial quantity in the Bida Basin. Mandate the Committees on Petroleum Resources Upstream and Legislative Compliance to ensure compliance. The motion was voted on and adopted. Moving on to bills, several were presented for first reading, among which include Court of Appeal Act Amendment Bill 2020, Medical and Dental Practitioners Act Amendment Bill 2022, sponsored by Representative Ganiu Abiodun Johnson, Nursing and Midwifery Registration Act Amendment Bill 2022, sponsored by Representative Ganiu Abiodun Johnson.
Mr. Speaker, just avoid wasting anybody's time.
Bills that scaled second reading on the floor of the House in the week under review are a bill for an act to amend the Child Rights Act 2004 to impose sanction on any parent who abandons a newborn child and absconds after birth, and for related matters, sponsored by Representative Sergius Ogun.
Where a parent abandons a child at the time or place of his birth, he shall be guilty of an offense and upon conviction be liable to fine of 200,000 naira or imprisonment for 6 months or to both such time and imprisonment. Mr. Speaker, just avoid wasting anybody's time. That's the short of this. Me to everyone to support this amendment to enable it to scale through second reading.
Those in favor of the bill be read the second time, say aye.
The bill was voted on, approved for second reading, and referred to the House Committee on Women Affairs.
The bill also seeks
Representative Aminu Suleiman sponsored a bill for an act to amend the Federal Polytechnics Act 2004 to accommodate the newly established Federal Polytechnics and for related matters. This was on Tuesday, the 6th of December, 2022.
If the House approves this, it will finally give legal backing to the existence and the operation of the new polytechnics. The bill also seeks to make some amendment to sections 3, 4, 5, 6, and 9 of the Federal Polytechnic to give additional powers to the management and councils of these institutions to minimize ministerial involvement in some of the operations of the Polytechnic. When the House approves, I'm sure the bill will benefit from wide consultations and input from members of the public.
Those in favor that the bill be read the second time, say aye.
The bill was voted on, approved for second reading, and referred to the House Committee on Tertiary Education. Several bills were presented for third reading in the week under review, among which include a bill for an act to establish the National Assembly Library Trust Fund for the purpose of research, provision of library equipment and related facilities, enhance the research of legislators and staff of the National Assembly, and for related matters, a bill for an act to establish the Nigerian Hunters and Forest Security Service (NHFSS) to prevent, combat forest crimes and enhance security within Nigeria's forests and for related matters, and a bill for an act to amend the Pension Reform Act 2014 to exclude and exempt the National Assembly Service from the Contributory Pension Scheme and establish the National Assembly Service Pension Board and for related matters. The bills were voted on and read the third time.
Many thanks for staying tuned to the program House Ticket as we bring you up to speed on the activities of our elected representatives in the Green Chamber of the National Assembly. We now move on to other engagements of our elected representatives outside the Green Chamber. Chairman House Committee on Electoral Matters, Lawmaker Aisha Dukku, received a delegation in her office on Monday, 5th December 2022. Please stay tuned for details of the meeting and interactions. Keep watching.
The delegation to the Office of Representative Aisha Dukku was led by Ambassador Michelle Gavin. She led the team for both the International Republican Institute and National Democratic Institute. Ambassador Gavin said that the purpose of the visit is to assess the level of Nigeria's preparedness ahead of the 2023 general elections.
Democracy and its advancement at this time when democracy is under threat globally, right? We all have to come together, learn from each other, support each other, and so very, very interested to hear about the work that you've been doing in your role. We're really eager to hear from you about what's top of mind, both in terms of encouraging signs and things you want to be sure get addressed as Nigeria steers very quickly into this very important election.
Yeah. Unfortunately, not all of us are the same.
In her remarks during the visit, Representative Aisha Dukku, who is the chairman of the House Committee on Electoral Matters, said there is need for support and collaborations in finding solutions to the conduct of free, fair, and credible elections. She added that the upcoming 2023 general elections is coming with a new electoral law, which has made the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) more efficient in terms of discharging its duties.
This election that is coming with a new electoral law, a robust electoral law, that has helped to strengthen the umpire, INEC. The law has given INEC more powers. More powers in terms of funding. The law has given INEC, the funds to be given to INEC 1 year before election, so as to enable them to prepare very well.
The lawmaker also used the occasion to touch on the issue of voter education and vote buying, saying that there is need to do more.
Now, in the country, there is a lot of awareness that has been raised on this issue of vote buying, and all in an effort to minimize it. Even if we may not be able to stamp it out, we want to minimize it. And let me say that it is gradually going down, because we've seen people collecting money and still voting for the candidates of their choice. So if, some of us, let me say some of us, the politicians, come to terms with the fact that even if you give them money for them to vote for you and they are not voting for you, they will collect your money and then they will vote for a candidate of their choice, I think it will stop. Gradually it will stop.
Hoping you've been enlightened on the workings of the legislative arm of government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Many thanks for being a part of the program. Don't forget to send in your comments, observations, and questions on our social media handles showing on your screen, and even catch up on our previous programs. Let's do this again soon and on this same station. Do stay safe.